welcome to Queensland Raceway for round number 3 of the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series. It's a little bit cloudy here this weekend, but we haven't seen any rain come down yet. We are only 45 minutes west of Brisbane here in Ipswich, in the centre of motorsport here in Willowbank. Queensland Raceway though, massive upgrades have happened since the last time we competed here. We've got these great new fantastic pit facilities. Everything's happening out the back. There's go-karts here. There's so much more for everyone who wants to come down and watch. I'm Matt Kavanagh, and joining me Stephen White alongside. We're coming off the back of a great round up in Darwin, which was round number 2 of the Hi-Tec Oil Series. It was the first 2 co-driver event when it came to the Hi-Tec Oils, the TA2 Muscle Cars as well. So that was a huge event for us. What was that like?
Oh, amazing, Matty, and welcome to you and welcome to everyone. Obviously, it's been a great, fantastic, series so far, and Darwin just eclipsed anything we could have hoped for. And 2-driver event, first one in the world. The guys loved it. All the feedback was fantastic, and now on to Queensland Raceway for round 3.
Well, our first race we're going to see this afternoon will be the TA2 Muscle Cars, and one of the biggest fans of TA2 Muscle Cars is Wade Oinger, and he's up there in the commentary box.
Let's have a look at this circuit, known affectionately as the Paperclip. 6 corners, 4 drag strips, effectively, that links them. Let's take a ride with Dylan Thomas in the CXC Racing Mustang and just have a look how much it is important to get your entry right. Get your entry right into most of these corners around this place. You're going to have a lot better time coming out of them. Let's listen to Dylan Thomas down the backstretch. Hard on the brakes here. Almost, well, effectively a 180-degree corner. Build up the revs. You can run a little bit wide there, as Dylan just did. Now back to the right side and prepare for a 180-degree left-hander. Well, actually, a little bit more of a sweeper in between coming up here as well. There you go, left and then left. Allow the car to straighten up just momentarily. Now down to the final corner, another 180-degree corner. Really important you keep the momentum up off this turn. Yeah, Dylan Thomas, he knows how to get around this place. Currently our series leader. So cars are on track now for race 3 of round 3 of the TA2 Muscle Car Series, framed by Hi-Tec. Qualifying was yesterday. The PWR Pole Award went the way of Nash Morris, who was absolutely fantastic, as many people knew he would be.
Well, it was an exciting PWR pole top 10 shootout here this morning at Queensland Raceway for round 3 of the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series. TA2 Muscle Cars framed by Hi-Tec Steel Framing, and Nash Morris, the big smile on your face because you've gone very fast and got yourself a pole award.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't feel too nervous out there. I've done plenty of shootouts at Normal Motorplex across the years where I work, so it's pretty cool to get another $500. I can give it to the boys for working so hard.
Mate, impressive time out there as well. You've really stamped your authority there. 9/10 of a second over the rest of the field.
Yeah, well, races where it matters, so we'll see if we can carry on that speed. That's the biggest thing.
Well, congratulations. Grab your PWR Pole Award check.
Thank you.
Yeah, did a fantastic job. Stephen White is standing by trackside. Oh, would you look at that cool shot. Good afternoon, Whitey.
Good afternoon, Wade. How are you? What a fantastic day. And here we are with Josh Haynes. Done brilliantly so far. How you going, Josh? Looking forward to this race?
Yeah, super pumped. The Beach's C2 Mustang is a rocket. We were quick in that last race, obviously. Just got a bit unlucky with safety cars. The track's cool, car's quick, I'm pumped. We'll see how we go on this one.
You've made a couple of changes to the car. It was obviously a bit sharper in that second race. Obviously, the safety cars were interrupting the race, but it looked like you were sort of sitting behind Nash pretty comfortably there. So, yes, hopefully this one will make a bit of a fight of it.
Yeah, look, hopefully we had a bit of pace to burn, so obviously it comes down to our tyre strategy, and we want to be there at the last lap of the last race this afternoon, so we'll see what we can do.
Good on you. Thanks, Josh. Right back to you guys.
Well, the TA2 community mourned the loss of one of our really great family members, the wonderful Jeff Lees, who was an amazing race car driver in his own right, with a career that spanned some 35 years and 23 Bathurst starts. Yesterday, the TA2 family joined along with Jeff's family, his lovely wife Sandra, his proud son Ben and his partner Megan, all joined with the teams yesterday to just pay tribute to a remarkable person that was part of a really magical era in touring car racing. Many people say the best ever era, the Moffat, Brock, Johnson, Jane, Grice, Gagan and Goss era. Jeff had so many different strings to his bow. He was the driver standards observer with us with the series for a number of years, but he was known for being a mentor, a man that really wanted to be transparent in his rulings as driver, as standards officer. He always liked just instilling in young people the ideal of racing hard, racing fair, and respecting your fellow racer. We are so honoured to have had Jeff as part of our TA2 family. He passed away after a 3-month battle with brain cancer, and we offer our love and our thoughts to all of Jeff's family and his wider family in the motor racing community. We miss you, Leedsy. What an absolutely wonderful man. Let's take a look at some highlights now. And Nash Morris, this is in race number 2 earlier today. Brad Gartner, you're getting a look at this sort of stuff for the first time. It's a very, very fast racetrack. It was on early. Unfortunately, Nicholas Bates and Chris Pappas got together. As a result, Nick Bates was fined 5 championship points for his part in the melee. But it was a spectacular part of the racetrack and the fastest part of the racetrack too, Brad.
Yeah, it's not the pace you want to go off and the big breaks there. But yeah, seeing that one in the mirror, wouldn't want to be involved.
No, well, you were about to have your own moment in the sun. There's a shot of the 22 car when it did look pretty. You were having a really good battle. But here, this is scary. You had us all very concerned. Did you realise just how fast that looked going off?
No, it's a hard watch. I hope Mum's not at home watching. But yeah, it's never good when you go off. And yeah, just from them drone footage, I didn't realise there was such a big lake there. So
tell me what's going on here.
Yeah, so we're up in the 4th. We're wide open here. And yeah, we normally brake at the Marshall. And yeah, no brakes, so we're straight in. Avoid ripping the nose off, and yeah, tyre barrier there anyway, and yeah, extremely hard watch.
You touched on 200 kilometres an hour in that little part of the racetrack coming into turn 4 as we take live pictures now and look at your grid. Morris, Haynes, Rice, Thomas, Wright, Hume, McAllister, Jackson, Crutcher and Cheney, Rowell, McKeldin, Keem, Leonard, Hadley, Walsh, no Brad Gartner, Chris Pappas, Michael Coulter is back after having some throttle issues. And we segue perfectly into going racing here at Queensland Raceway. Haynes and Morris, Thomas and Rice. Just saw Crutcher fade to the inside. Hayden Hume has been really good this weekend as well. The rookie in the Racetec race seats. Rookie of the Year championship contention. Morris, your leader. That is such a good corner to watch, Brad. What's it like to drive?
Yeah, lap 1, a corner like that, so you don't want to be too wide, but see they're going all right. I know Haynes is going to have a proper crack here. He's sick of getting second. Yeah,
well, I would imagine you're right. How about Rusty Wright? There he is, the veteran in the crew commercial entry. 5th place, got a lot of young guns in front of him. He's got his 118th start today. This race is 118 TA2 starts. Morris, your leader. From Haynes, from Rice, we got trouble back here. And is that the Rowell car? We'll have to have a quick look again and see. It might have been Mick Rowell. Rice in that 3rd spot, bit of a lock-up, runs wide. There goes Hayden Jackson, Hugh McAllister, Graham Cheney, Mark Crutcher. I'm just looking for the distinctive colours of Mick Rowell. I think that might have been Rowley that looped it. Working lap 2 of 12. Brad Gartner joining me in commentary. That's the good news that you're here. It was a scary ride. And I know that a lot of your fellow racers were worried about you too, mate. You've had a lot of the teams come down and check on you after that crash.
Yeah, it was really nice to feel the support. Obviously, it's definitely not what we want, but as I said, cool to see the other side of things and really grateful for all the messages and support. So yeah, love the community.
G'day, Mum. G'day, Dad. He's okay. As much as he was before he got here anyway. What's it like watching this? Is it like watching somebody dance with a girlfriend?
Yeah, this is hard to watch. I'd love to be out there. It's cool to see Rusty back in, and yeah, I don't know what happened there. It's not like factory Mike to make a mistake, so it'd be interesting to see more of that.
I think there might have been contact or proximity with the Kubota Tractors entry of Matt McKeldin. Take a look at the 55, the crew commercial entry of Rusty Wright, the inaugural series champion, and a man who, in winning that, got to race at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas and run one round of the championship over there. Of course, we have an incredible diamond and gold ring. As always, Wallace Bishop, get behind us. Champion wins that as well. We're working lap 3 of 12. Dylan Thomas, the winner, along with Tim Brooks from the Darwin round, our first ever 2-driver concept, worldwide first ever. What was that like?
Oh, that was pretty cool, especially to have a star driver in my car, Max Meadows, so that was awesome. Yeah, we managed to put some good laps together and come away with P3, so that was good fun.
Bit of loving for the Maxi. Star driver. Wow.
He definitely doesn't need the confidence boost, but I'll give it to him anyway.
You are greasing the wheels. One of your good mates too, Lockie McDonough, did a fantastic job last night at Archerfield Speedway, standing up in the seat there as well with some of the big dogs. Let's get back to Ipswich. Morris. Haynes is under some pressure from Rice. Thomas is there, so is Rusty. You go back to a lonely ride for Hayden Hume, then back to Jackson. So Hayden Jackson started in 20th, had a clutch issue, didn't even get a lap in his qualifying run. He's been moving up the order. He's now in 7th in our 3rd race for the weekend. You've just got to ride out the wave sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely a patient game, especially around a track like this. Big breaks, you want to be just consistent. He went up 8 spots in the first race, and yeah, obviously now he's up to 7, so that's 13 spots. He's going really well.
Oh, Mark Crutcher. That is not good at all. What's the go with Pappas? There's damage. So the left front corner, looks like there might have been a little bit of a concertina action there. And that's definitely rubbing on that left front corner. He had damage in the left rear corner as well. And that was from that incident earlier with Bates, who's back on track after they had to work hard on that car. Lap 4 of 12. Look at Rusty. Ageless, mate.
Yeah, he's just cruising around. I know Pappas was a bit worried about coming into this race, having to come from the back, but yeah, it looks like he's been caught up in the sun. Be interesting to see what happened there.
It's so good to see new sponsors getting involved as well. Nash carving out some good times, Brad.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see Nash just doing two laps in the 12s. He's over half a second faster than Josh both laps, so that's extremely fast laps for this time of the weekend. That's qualifying time, so it's very interesting to see.
It's the old Boxer Brewery entry. A new line of beer made it to the Witches Falls Winery in Mount Tambourine. I fancy that Mark Crutcher and his beautiful wife will be sampling some of the sponsor's product a little bit later on after racing. There is Jackson Rice and the Dream Racing entry, doing a very nice job. He's got some pressure now from Thomas. How good is Nash Morris?
Yeah, he's just checked out there. Them Norwell guys have got that car dialed in, and Nash himself's coming off a big win at Trans Am, so he's dialed in. Confidence is up. He's doing really well.
We'll be back on the other side of this. Stick around, folks, from the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series from Queensland Raceway. Welcome back to Queensland Raceway. Once again, you see Hayden just nipping the brakes there, and you saw that wisp of, whoa, that's more than a wisp of smoke. Hayden's feeling the pressure, slides it out of that left-hander into the right-hander as well. It's such a tricky circuit to keep momentum, and that's so critical. Here we go, up the inside. Hugh, can he make it stick? No.
He's a good braker, Hugh. He was following me yesterday, and yeah, very intimidating in the mirror, but I thought he might have had that one done, but yeah, we'll see. He'll come back.
The charismatic Ian Luff always used to say the last of the late breakers. He absolutely threw the speculator in. Whether he's going to be able to come back, that's going to be the question. Let's get down to pit lane with Stephen White.
Thanks, Wade. Yes, I've got a disappointed Hayden Hume here. Sounds like you've got gearbox problems.
Oh yeah, I was just running in 6th, running my own race, and we just got a massive, after shifting into 3rd, I got a massive grind. Just no matter what gear I was in, it was clunking and grinding and carrying on. So reliability's let us down yet again, but might as well come in and not blow it up and save it for the next race.
All right, no worries. Looks like the guys will fix it and get you back out for the next one.
We'll try, but it seems pretty hurt. Might need a gearbox out, might need it looked at, but yeah, hopefully the hour turnaround won't be a problem.
Good on you. Thanks, Hayden. No worries. And just an update on the Chris Pappas car. You'll see it's a bit wounded out there, a bit of superficial damage because he continued on, and I did notice that Nicholas Bates was around him, so hopefully those two guys play nice this time.
Thank you, Whitey. We just saw the human highlight reel. Mark Crutcher doing it again. Look at this, McAllister. Good run, and that gives you a good idea of how critical the entry to a corner is here, Brad.
Yeah, you got to have it perfect. He's got a good run there, and I think that's still done there.
Nice little battle between them. Oh, look at Haydo, the Novocastrian, trying to fight back. Doing a good job is Hugh McAllister, one of his better drives. What a shame for Hayden Hume too. The real good little family operation, proud mum and dad, giving them the support out of Hyundais and also 86 Racing and into TA2s. So let's have a look at it again. So easy to run deep.
Yeah, it's them big corners. As soon as you turn in and, yeah, the weight comes off that inside front, it doesn't take much to lock a wheel.
So unfortunately, Hayden Jackson paying the price a little bit. This guy, does he even put a wheel wrong? We're working lap 11 of 12. Make it super. It's kind of what he does, Nash Morris. Almost like he was born to race, almost like what he does every day.
Yeah, no, he's an extremely talented driver and just so calculated. You know, it looks like he's in slow motion every corner. I don't reckon he's locked a brake all weekend, so it's extremely impressive, and Haynes and Nat are doing a real good job keeping up. You know what's probably the nicest part about Nash, though, or Flash, as he is known with his mates? He's such a nice kid, laid back, very modest, very humble, always happy to see you, and just a guy that's living his dream, just a good young man. Yeah, no, that's right. He's extremely nice guy, and coming off a massive win in the Trans Am against some proper big names isn't easy to do. So it's good to see him here, and I think everyone knew around this track and knew coming out of Trans Am in the TA2 was going to be fast. But you know, Hainesy's, I think, third in the championship, I think. So he just needs to be best of the race, and he'll be fine. Yeah, exactly right. Though Dylan Thomas, the man who leads the championship, is sitting right behind him. They're starting to walk around on the Hoosiers. Legendary Aussie motorsport icon Max Dumsney is the Australian distributor for the tyres that we use here. He's got his ragtag former Aussie Sprint Car champ Marcus Sutton here this weekend as we take a look at the Cabelco entry of Coulter. Bates closing in on him, and we're on the final lap, Brad. Yeah, no, it's good to have Hoosier on board. They're a great tyre. It's always hard to keep it under you, but yeah, they're definitely sliding around here. It's good that Bates has come up. I think he started 17, so he's up 5 spots as well, which is good to see. Yeah, he got pinged, unfortunately, for that incident with Pappas in the previous race. And we are getting to the business end of this. My favourite corner is turn 2. Not so much as the driver, but a spectator. The way that they really drift. How about this guy? Nash Morris will wrap it up in the Super Cheap Autos Norwell Motorplex Mustang. Second will be Josh Haynes. Dylan Thomas strong, rusty ride again. Very consistent around that top 5 marker. Hugh McAllister, he was lively. Yeah, no, he's done a good job. He's always good under brakes here, so always consistent. He's never in trouble, so no, it's good to see. Nice drive again from Hayden Jackson. Considering where they started with that clutch issue, he has been working his way deeper and deeper into the top 10. You see Coulter in that Cabelco colour scheme. Nash or the Flash, whichever you like. He got the PWR cash yesterday, and he is continuing on that winning run. Always good to see his pop out here enjoying the action as well. And of course, proud dad Paul, the dude Morris, very, very happy. Let's take a look at your results. Nash Morris, your winner from Josh Haynes. Dylan Thomas, 3rd. Russell Wright, 4th. Jackson Rice, 5th. Graham Cheney, well done to Chene. Hugh McAllister, 7th. Hayden Jackson, 8th. Matt McKeldin inside the top 9. And Greg Keane, good job. The man from Canada got the job done. Coulter got back to 11th. That's well done considering the throttle issues they had in race number 2. Bates charged hard. Pappas back to Bernie Walsh. Paul Hadley. Robert Leonard. Mark Crutcher. Wow, I'm not sure what's going on with Crutch.
Pretty happy Dylan Thomas, obviously a 3rd place in that race. Collecting points, but obviously had a bit of a battle with Jackson and picked him up late in the race.
Jackson was, Jackson, and same with Hainesy. Look, Hainesy late, but Jackson right from the word go. They were struggling with rear brakes, and Yeah, our car was pretty good in that one. So obviously learned our lessons from race 2 earlier this morning, and our car wasn't so good in that one. We obviously corrected the direction a little bit from that, and yeah, as the race got on, it just got better and better. We were starting to hunt down Joshy. We wanted another 10 laps, so we could have come and had a play, but yeah, cool just to keep knocking off some results, and yep, how can you go wrong when your car come home clean?
No worries, we'll see you in the final. Thank you. And Josh Haynes, second again, but obviously nice and consistent for the weekend.
Yeah, it's good. Again, just good to get some good championship points. Can't keep up with the car in front of us. Wish we could. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, obviously it was a great race. I could see Dylan coming in my mirror. I was like, well, you know, I don't have many laps left, and we managed to bring it home in second. But the Beach's C2 Mustang's quick. I'd just also like to thank Herzog Steel, Chapman Floor Coverings, SOS Recruitment, Car Bids, Elvin Group, and I'd like to shout out Mark Plowers in the USA. Hopefully we can see him soon.
Right, no worries. Thanks, Josh. And we'll move on to our pretty much clean sweep so far. Nash Morris, fantastic effort and looking very impressive. Well done. How was that race for you?
It was pretty good, yeah. I think we showed some good pace, so hopefully we can carry that over to the big one, the Savo, which is the 20-lapper. So hopefully we don't burn our tyres off in our brakes. So that's a pretty cool thing about this category. You only get that limited stuff and you've got to manage it.
How's that consistency? Your car's obviously fast, but you've got to be consistent over that long distance. How's the car coping? Is it consistent for you and balanced, you know, towards the end of the race?
Yeah, I don't think we're as fast at the start as, say, Josh and that, but I think where our strength is, we can keep that, you know, average speed up for the whole race distance. So I think that hopefully will pay in our favour for the big one. So we'll see how we go.
Nash, no worries. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
We've just completed our third race of the TA2 Muscle Cars, and it is falling from the sky. And that view we had earlier from overhead, you could see the dry silhouettes where the cars had been sitting in pit lane. So now that the rain comes down, have they put the wet tyres on? How much rain is going to hit the track? And who are our wet weather drivers that are going to get the advantage out of this? And we'll have to wait and find out. We can see how wet it is out there now. I think if you choose to start out there on slicks, it's going to be like driving on ice.
Yes, like a Doberman on roller skates, I'm pretty sure. But Matt McKeldin, sweet-looking Stellatech sponsorship down the side, along with Smith & Co. Lanham's Motor Group and Kubota Tractors. Hello to his lovely wife, Helen, and the girls who are here this weekend. Matt actually got pinged some spots for his little situation earlier on with Mick Rowell. So Matt got bumped back 3 spots. There was also Mark Crutch's incident earlier on with Chris Pappas was deemed a racing incident by our driver standards officer, Elliot Barber, the glamour boy of TA2. He's really the Brad Pitt of TA2. I think it's safe to say that. If we had any lady racers in this category, I reckon they'd all be trying to crash people out just so Elliot could sit down and gaze at them in his eyes. There is the Rao Logistics, Pacific Petroleum, number 15 of Mick Rao. That's actually Matt's wife standing off to the left, just the form, Helen McKeldin. As we take a look down over the top of the Paul Hadley IES car. Gorgeous hot rod, a pair of them. What a commitment, Matt, from that team.
Yeah, great to have them back out here, especially after Darwin, where Paul had a bit of work to do. They rolled that car in round number 1 in Winton, so rebuilt all the travel up to Hidden Valley there in Northern Territory, and now back down here in Queensland to get back into away racing. But these are the cars that have chosen to stay out there, and we're having a look at this one because Nash Morris has come in, who's been dominant this weekend, has won every race, top qualified, and Josh Haynes has been the one to try and take it to him, staying out there on the slick tyres, and Dylan Thomas alongside, who's very clinical in the way he races, and it looks like we are underway, and it is green. This is going to be very slippery going into turn number 1. Nash Morris waiting in the background. He's got to wait for that final car to come over past the start-finish line.
So the interesting part is, Matty Cav, we've got 20 laps in which to do this. So the Flash emerges from pit lane, so too does Matt McKeldin. As you pointed out, these guys, well, it's going to be a bit more like sprint car style for the first few laps. Danny Reedy is actually here in the pits today, the former Alice Springs sprint car racer who now, for many, many years, has lived in Queensland. Now a father of 2. His lovely wife, Chelsea, is here. And Danny is going to be joining the series. Has actually bought a car. And in the next couple of months ahead, Danny Reedy will be driving TA2. We'll take a look at the IES boys getting after it. Now, did Cheney go there as well? I can't see whether that is. No, that's still Paul. So I wonder whether Graham Cheney has actually stayed on the slicks.
Yeah, maybe. We saw Josh Haynes in turn 3, very, very slippery, went wide. Dylan Thomas came down the inside, and in the background you can see Nash Morris lurking. Now he is out on wet tyres, so he's going to have a huge advantage over the rest of the pack. He's already rounded up Bernie Walsh and got that position back. Josh Haynes, though, leading us at the moment, but out on slick tyres in these wet conditions, and he's wide again, and you don't want to get in the gravel because you could get stuck. Hugh McAllister in 3rd position. He'd be hoping that it dries up a little bit, and wouldn't this be a great advantage there for Michael Coulter after what we saw them do in Darwin, get a number of positions with that driver change there in the endurance race. If this dried out now, this could be a huge advantage for him.
I've already seen the super cheap flash red Mustang, though, starting to figure. Here it comes already on the wets. It's going to be a little bit like the Gazelle that goes down to the water hole, and you just know there's a predator in the water. We take a look at Paul Hadley on track. Hello to Gary Coleman, OAM, the wonderful, amazing chaplain for Motorsport Ministry. It's wonderful to see that you're watching our coverage, Gary. We really missed you during the week, I know, when we farewelled an amazing man in James Camilleri in Sydney. Always good to catch up with you. Haynes ahead of Dylan Thomas, and they are crawling about the speed you and I would be doing. In fact, they're probably going quicker. Who am I kidding?
Probably going a little bit quicker. You can see the difference in the braking, can't you, between our last race and this one, where they're getting on the brakes a lot earlier, not wanting to carry that speed, but I can't see how thick the rain is out there at the moment. I can't see it falling from the sky, and do we have more coming, or will this dry out, and will the... I suppose the risk and the temptation to stay on the slicks, will it pay off? Because we can see dry patches starting to appear out in the racetrack. Could this go in Josh Haynes' favour at the end of the race compared to what we've seen Nash Morris?
Did you just say, do we have more rain coming? Have you been to Queensland before, Matty? Because one thing we do know is that we don't know. One thing we do know, though, is that Super Cheap Autos Nash Morris car creeping through now into 3rd on the wets. It still looks wet enough in places where it's going to be consistently a problem for the guys on slicks. Let's go down to Stephen Merry, Poppins White.
Yeah, there's no umbrella yet. Look, it stopped raining down here and the wind's picked up. So keep an eye on the track, because I think certainly Josh Haynes, Dylan Thomas and others will certainly be the people that are going to be a little bit advantaged by this. Some of the guys on the wets may not last through the race if the racing line becomes dry. So certainly no rain down here at the minute. So let's see how we go.
You know, thank you very much indeed, Stephen White. You would think out of all the cars on the racetrack, the one sponsored by Features Sea-Doo would be the best in the wet, Matty Cav. The interesting thing, if you're new to circuit racing or motor racing in general, and we're talking about slicks and we're talking about wet weather tyres. Now, right now, the car in the red is on the wet weather tyres, which is great when you're in the wet weather. However, if it does dry out, those tyres will get awfully hot very quickly, and they will lose a lot of their stickiness. So it's a bit of a game of poker right now, Matty Cav.
Yeah, it's a gamble when you go out there, and Nash Morris choosing to go on the wet. He's already made all those positions back up and now leading our race. We are only in the 3rd lap of 20, of course, an extended race here to finish off this weekend, the 2 days of Thunder. It's all part of the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series round number 3, and great to have the TA2 Muscle Cars framed by Hi-Tec back here at Queensland Raceway. The windscreen wiper's still on, though, for the Keen car. So
he's done such a good job, Matt. He's in the Racetech Race Seats Rookie of the Year contention and is doing an exceptionally good job. He and Hayden Hume. Now, I didn't see Hayden Hume on the raceway. They had to change the gearbox, so he's out there ahead of Rob Leonard. So the teenager was absolutely rocking in race 2, and in race 3 it was quick too, but they had gearbox issues. I saw his dad on hands and knees while the team sorted through trying to make something of it all. Mick Rowell, we saw him earlier on. Mick is going to pick up the Bowden's Best Presented Award, and I don't think anybody would begrudge him getting that, because, Matt, that car, that 15, is just a gorgeous hot rod.
Yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic out there on track as well. I think he did come in late a little bit, Hayden Hume, to get some wet tyres on. So just a little bit behind, probably not prepared, I suppose, to do the tyre change with the crew, but they're back out on track at the moment. We'll see how they get around. Haynes and Thomas still in 2nd and 3rd, even though these wet conditions out there. And just having a look, who else might even grab some wet tyres there as we look back down. McKeldin in 10th position. We know he went and grabbed some wet weather tyres. He's got past Crutcher, and looks like we're going to see a few more people go past him as well. That's Cheney going by and
creeping by Mark Crutcher, and they had to do a lot of work on that number 4 car. You see Hayden Jackson The Maitland entry, just stepped the tail out, just creeping, trying to keep the thing glued down. So Crutcher starting to find some speed. We take a look over the top. Rob Leonard battling hard there as well with Paul Hadley. And Hayden Jackson looking down the barrel of the Hyperco Hard Charger Award, and there he is again. Very good run. Doing a nice job. Very new to our category and really enjoying it. Keem, of course, Hayden Jackson did run a couple of rounds with us last year, but he doesn't have a huge amount of miles on the clock. Championship-wise, he is right in the thick of it. Dylan Thomas currently leads with 5:58. Jackson Rice is second with 5:49. Josh Haynes is third with 525. Graham Cheney is in fourth. Nicholas Bates in fifth with 4:39. Hayden Jackson is sixth with 4:23. Michael Coulter 3:93. And Hugh McAllister 3:81. Matt McKeldin 3:76. And Rob Leonard with half of the Johnson family working on that car. Stevie J and Jet Johnson working on that car, along with the crew chief and COO, his lovely wife Jill.
And in race number 3, he did make a lot of positions too. So they are getting on top of the setup of that car for Rob Leonard. And Jackson Rice trying to make some positions in the background. They Hayden Jackson, he's following through Graham Cheney as they get through, and just got to watch out. Bernie Walsh didn't come and grab any wet tyres either. He stayed out there on the slicks all the way. And Hayden Jackson's going to take a big dive down the inside here. Looks turn number 6.
Hey, well done.
He's pulled the car up, hasn't he?
He made that stick. I didn't think he was going to do that. Oh, look out, Rowley. Getting a little growly on Dick Johnson straight away. Now, they're at that intermediate point now, I think, Matt, where you light them up, suddenly the car twitches, he gets a bit of grip, but then loses grip. Pappas in the 8 car, sweeping through is the 7 car. And wow, Jackson Rice looking really solid.
We've got some penalties coming through pit lane as well now. Some penalties coming over the race radio for speeding in pit lane as they've come through to change over those wet weather tyres. So that's going to be some provisional results, I think, at the end of this.
The booming voice of AVE main man Greg Sita in our ears as Cheney is gone. The IES car on the main straightaway. Right in front of the team, there is Walsh, there is Paul Hadley. The team boss. Let's have a look at what happened here. Oh, Rowley got loose. And I think Cheney might have checked up to try and miss him. Fortunately, he didn't get the concrete wall. We're halfway there. Keem on the outside. And Jackson Rice. Oh, here we go. Uh-oh. That's Rowley.
Yeah, Rowley's spun it out. It is very slippery on the exit of turn number 6. You don't know, maybe there might be just where there's a bit of build-up of oil or something over the years, and when it gets a bit of water, it becomes very, very slippery. So we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds. Jackson Rice doing fantastic. He makes his way all the way up into 5th position now. Remembering, he works down at Calder Park. That's where they work on the car. He works on several of the other TA2 cars down there as well. So he's gets a little bit of practice down there in conditions like this, especially in Melbourne. You never know if it's going to rain, and it's very cold down there this time of the year. So this might be favourable for him. We'll have a look at the replay here of Michael Rowell in the background. Check this out. Just gets himself loose and slides up onto the grass. And in this wet weather, there's no stopping that car from turning around.
It's kind of a bit of a deja vu situation for Rowley, because he got to wriggle up a couple laps earlier when Graham Cheney was in behind. So maybe they get a little bit distracted by the car in front. They make a sudden movement just to correct. Here's a good little battle. You got Keem, Coulter, Hayden Jackson. The Maitland missile fires up the inside on the Cabelco Camaro. Oh, they're right there with Keem. Wow! 2 for the price of 1. Nice drive, Hayden Jackson.
Oh, Keem again gets a little bit loose, goes wide. You don't want to drop a wheel off, do you? Oh, those slick tyres are not helping them with the drive out of the corners. Coulter gets it over Keem, though. He could get the drive. Nick Bates takes advantage as well, goes down the inside, turning into number 1. We'll have to wait and see whether Keem can fight back in that position. He's dropped all the way back now to 9th. Matty McKeldin in 10th. Michael Coulter with a nice little move there as he follows Hayden Jackson. I feel like the track is starting to dry out in areas, because you can see just getting a little bit quicker, a little bit more confidence through parts of the track, as Nash Morris still our clear leader in the super cheap Mustang at the moment. Took the risk, the gamble to go onto wet tyres at the start of this race and start out of pit lane, but look, that's really paid off for him. 30 seconds, so even as this starts to dry out there, we're going to have enough laps for that. We're on lap number 12 already, and Chris Pappas now in front of Nash Morris, and Morris should round him up down the straight here and get him under brakes. A bit of a wiggle though.
You've got to remember those tyres will be getting a little bit warm as well. They're really good in the wet line, but if you get into any of that drier part of the racetrack, they're going to really heat up. Hugh McAllister just there in the McAllister Motors Mustang ahead of Jackson Rice. Jackson moving up to position 5 now. As they come back to the main straightaway, we look to lock in lap 13 of 20 very soon. That's the way you keep an eye on all the information. Oh, he's really closing in now. Jackson Rice in behind young New South Wales' Hugh McAllister. We'll be back on the other side of this. Stick around, folks, from the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series from Queensland Raceway. Welcome back to Queensland Raceway. Lap 16 of 20. There is Josh Haynes. He is ahead of the Raceway by some margin over Bernie Walsh.
Yeah, we're going around the lap, Bernie Walsh at this point. Haynes doing a nice job just trying to keep that car onto the bitumen there. Doesn't want to push it too hard. I mean, he's in the championship fight with Dylan Thomas and Jackson Rice. So
yeah, the two guys he's leading are leading him in the championship match, so it's starting to be swings and roundabouts, as the great Grant Denyer would say. There is the Maitland Glass, number 81. Boy, he's really impressed people today. Hayden Jackson is taking a liking to this racetrack. He's currently in 6th place. We take a look at that 81 car motoring on, perhaps towards our Hyperco Hard Charger Award for the weekend.
Yeah, Michael Coulter still holding off Nick Bates in the background and Matty McKeldin as well, but you can see right behind him Nash Morris almost coming around to get them a lap down. So he's just finished, 4 laps remaining now for Nash Morris. Could it be a clean sweep of this round of racing for the TA2 Muscle Cars framed by Hi-Tec? Still framing, it's round number 3. And there it is, the super cheap Mustang.
We're, of course, planning some big events across the Dutch in 2024 with plans to expand our competition, some Trans-Tasman battles in New Zealand. We're going to head down to pit lane.
Thanks, Wade. I have George Gambino from Hi-Tec Oils here with me. George is obviously entertainment, looking at all the entertainment, but being at Queensland Raceway, how awesome is this place?
Yeah, this is unreal. It's obviously our tower here that we have, and Tony's done a great job here, so we love coming here, and the TA2 guys are smashing it.
You're obviously looking at the entertainment because obviously it's raining and now it's wet and the race is quite close. It's fantastic, these TA2 cars.
It's good to throw a few things and these drivers test them out.
Fantastic, and looking forward to the next round at Morgan Park?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's not clashing with anything, so I'm okay. It's all good, thank you.
Good on you, thanks George, and back to you guys.
Oh, he's had a busy weekend. He's got his Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series happening down at Winton this weekend as well. They're out on track and they've also got wet conditions, so very busy man. George Gambino from Hi-Tec Oils, he loves his motorsport. And
oh, look at this, Bates. That's what he's doing. He's watching the drift highlights. The Hi-Tec Bambino, George Gambino. He absolutely loves his drift racing and his motorsport. Bates, they've gotten away from McKeldin a bit now. So the Cabelco Camaro of Michael Coulter and the very clean Mustang of Nicholas Bates back to the 99 car. We're just watching, why has he dropped away like that? He was looking so very good in that Kubota car. Morris coming up at him. The hard part is, Matt, we've got half the track that's wet and half that's dry. It's almost like we've got a rain curtain down the middle, and parts of the track are really dry and others still offering enough purchase for those wets.
You can see Nash Morris, he makes his way past Matty McKeldin there. He's actually exploring the track, I think, trying to cool those tyres down, looking for a little bit of moisture just to take the temp out of them. Smart racer, isn't he? Yeah. Such a young age, but already with so much race wisdom.
And look, he'd have his dad in his ear for sure. You know, Paul would be saying, take it easy, we don't need to be doing too much here. Just get the job done. Now he's closing in. So fastest car on the Raceway with a 1:21.87. Now, bearing in mind too is of course Josh Haynes. Bearing in mind, Matt, qualifying times around the 1:11s for Nash Morris. We had 10 seconds a lap off that at the moment, but extremely wet and greasy conditions early forced everyone to roll the dice. What were they going to do? Were they going to stick with the dries, with the slicks, or change to the wets? It was a gamble that Nash Morris took, and it seemed to pay off. Here he is, coming into the last 2 laps of this race.
Well, it's only now that Josh Haynes has laid that lap down. So previously to that, Nash Morris did have the fast lap. So it just tells us that the track is drying out. Their conditions are changing. Michael Coulter holding off Nick Bates now. This is for position number 7 out on track. Nash Morris coming around to lap traffic.
It looks very wet in that corner, Matt, particularly on the outside of the track just then. And I wonder how much does Nash Morris want to get involved in this battle? I guess we've just found out. He just went around Bates and he's coming after Coulter. So the Super Cheap Autos entry steaming to a demolition job of the weekend in that Super Cheap car. Wow, look at the gap that Coulter was able to get over Bates when they came up on the lap car just then. Lap 19, about to be lap 20 of 20.
Well, here we go. He's coming around. We're going to start the final lap of this race. 20 laps it has been for race number 4 here at Queensland Raceway for round 3 of the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series. And Nash Morris with a commanding lead. Can he get it done? He's only got about 3 kilometres left to go. 5 more corners to get around in the Super Cheap Mustang. We'll wait and find out. Jackson Rice still chasing down Hugh McAllister. That's been another fantastic battle where McAllister hasn't let him get any closer throughout these final 5 laps we've had.
I think in a scheme like this, in the overall TA2 Muscle Car Series, this would be Hugh McAllister's best result. It'll be a career best. He's had better results in domestic competition, but not on a stage like this. When you said there's only 5 corners to go and we're still 3/4 of a lap left to go, it gives you an idea of how few corners there are at this place.
Yeah, still a long track. It's almost like having 4 drag strips and 6 corners thrown in, but very difficult under brakes. You can see it gets a little bit rough going to turn number 3, but they've already got past that point, and here's Nash Morris. He doesn't need to try and make this move on Coulter at all, and I don't think he'll have to even try, think about it. He can just bring the number 67 Super Cheap Mustang home and get the win. It'll be a fantastic result for him and the family who are here this weekend. And Paul Morris running around the pits. He'll be lively on the headset for sure. In the final corner, this is all he's got to stick it to the bitumen, and he does. Nash Morris heading towards the checkered flag.
Didn't get flashy either, you notice that? He could have stuck the tail out and put a bit of a whip in, but he didn't. Nash Morris will get the win. Will go a long way back to the Beaches C2 entry right here of Josh Haynes, who's looking to put a move on the outside of Hayden Hume. One of those goal lock up from Hume. Josh turns it back hard across the corner and will do a nice job in second. This will really spice up the championship, although Dylan Thomas should hold on for 3rd, and he currently leads the series. Go back to Jackson Rice, who's in 5th, but is actually 2nd in the championship. And there's not many points between the top 5. So, Matty Cav, this is going to be an interesting point situation when we get to our next round at Morgan Park in early July.
Well, we're only 50% of the way through the championship after this round, so there's still plenty more racing to happen, but a good position to be in, and there's obviously 3 names there now starting to stamp, you know, their little bit of authority on the championship, and they're the ones that we're going to have to watch. But don't discount Nicholas Bates later in the season. It's been a bad round for him. It can happen to any racer. As the checkered flag is out here for our 4th and final race for the TA2 Muscle Cars, framed by Hi-Tec.
Bates got back to position 8. Just behind Michael Coulter and also Hayden Jackson. Boy, he was stout. He finished up 6th place at the end of all that. So from a guy that had completely missed qualifying because of a clutch issue, he stormed from 20th to 12th, and then in the end ended up with a fantastic 6th place. Morris, your winner, from Josh Haynes, from Dylan Thomas. Hugh McAllister, PB for him. Jackson Rice is 5th. Hayden Jackson, I would think, PB for him. Michael Coulter, 7th. Nicholas Bates, 8th. Matthew McKeldin, good job, top 9. And Greg Keane from Gunnedah, top 10.
Then we go to Chris Pappas in 11th position. Hayden Hume held on for 12th. Mark Crutcher resumes there at 13th. Graham Cheney, although that spin out in 14th in the end. Bernie Walsh gets through for 15th, then goes back to Rob Leonard, Michael Rowell after a big spin, then Paul Hadley and Russell Wright. Not quite sure what happened to him. It was late to come in and get those wets on, but unfortunately that might have cost him.
Boy, this guy, they call him Flash, and that drive was certainly that. There's a very proud pop down there, very pleased with the whole way that worked out. I know that Stephen White will be down there with him very soon. We'll be doing our presentations to first, second and third. There is Dylan Thomas. He comes up behind Josh Haynes and says, nice job, well done. Haynes certainly put that Beaches Sea-Doo entry. I love the way drivers relive their drives after every race. So the round points, we'll see Nash Morris pick up the round win by 16 points over Josh Haynes. Dylan Thomas will be back in third. Jackson Rice is fourth for the round. Hugh McAllister ends up fifth. Rusty Wright still sixth. 119 TA2 races for him so far. Hayden Jackson will get 7th for the point. Graham Cheney after that spin will pick up 8th. Matt McKeldin will get 9th. And Canada's Greg Keem, Canada Greg, will get 10th in the round. That is a career best for him. Only after 2 rounds he's actually raced with us. Started at Winton, had a bit of a Barry Crocker there, but really has stormed back. That will build his confidence. Cool drone shot over the top of Dick Johnson straight. We pay homage to the great man, and we also pay our respects, our love, and as always, our feelings towards the Jeff Leeds family after this week. Let's go down to Matty Cav, who was repositioned down in pit lane.
What an interesting race that was, Wade. Of course, the rain did come down very early, and someone took the gamble to go into wet tyres, and some stayed on their dry slicks, and, well, it all unfolded. And here we go. We've got the general manager from Hi-Tec Steel Framing joining us here to present the trophies. But our third place getter, Dylan Thomas, a tough race, mate.
Congratulations. Cheers.
You took the gamble to stay out there on slick tyres, but you get a third position.
Yeah, the boys were saying that it looks like it's just a quick shower and it's going to clear up. I think if it had been the 12-lap race, I think we would have been in a world of trouble. Although in saying that the guys that jumped on wets, I mean, Nashy went early and I'm sure their pit stop was pretty good compared to most. So he was the only one that got us. The rest of the wet tyre guys didn't get us. We were conservative. Joshy was going and I was like, oh, we don't need to put that much risk. You know, we're pretty safe. And I kept saying to the boys, how far back? And we just brought it home for a pretty safe third, so not too unhappy.
You don't like to talk about championships this early, but a good swag of points and you stay in front.
Yeah, that's right. We can put the orange numbers on the car for the next round. We should have actually ran in this round, but yeah, like I mean, I've said it all along. You know, if we can run top 4 every race of the year, we'll be in championship contention come the end of the year. Joshy's doing a good job. He more than knocked off a third of what his deficit was. So with 4 rounds or 3 rounds to go, but that'll put him ahead if he keeps getting that many points on us. So Joshy's probably still got the speed for the championship. So I think he's the championship guy we need to talk about.
Oh, he's playing it down here, Dylan Thomas, and the CSE Mustang. Congratulations, third place. We'll head over to our second place over here in the Beaches Sea-Doo Mustang, the number 37, Josh Haynes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, what an unreal race. I've genuinely never had so much fun. We went out and we were like, oh, you know, it looks like it's going to rain. And of course, the moment we drove out, started spitting, and I got on the radio, saw Nash drive in. We didn't know what we wanted to do, and we decided to stay out. Who knows what was the right call? I don't know. Maybe if we got a safety car, we could have had him at the end there. But all in all, it was a great race. I'd just like to thank Beaches Sea-Doo, Chapman Floor Coverings, Herzog Steel, SOS Recruitment, Elvin Group, and everyone else for a great weekend. I'd also just like to shout out to Brad Gartner. We all work our bum off to race here, and I hate seeing that, so I hope he's all right.
Well, let's get Lee over here from Hi-Tec Steel Frame to give you your trophy.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We know you love the wet weather out there as well. So what was it like, though? What were the conditions like? How hard was it to keep the car on the track?
Well, it was really nerve-wracking. And the funny thing is, we actually have set up our windscreen wiper so it's the most aerodynamical, you know, in the position it is. So I actually didn't have windscreen wipers at the start. So it was really guessing where you got to brake. And then, yeah, obviously just keeping it on the black stuff during the race and, you know, finish at the end and get some points.
Well, a big smile. Good luck getting back to Canberra.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to the cold.
Yeah, he's going to go right back to the cold there in the ACT. But here we go. Our round winner here for the third round of the TA2 Muscle Car Frame by Hi-Tec Steel Framing. Come in, the General Manager of Hi-Tec Steel Framing, Lee Jones, will hand over the trophy. It's going to be Nash Morris. Congratulations.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
You came in, it was very quick for you to come into pits and get on those wet tyres. Do you think that really clinched the win?
To be honest, we didn't actually do it as a pace thing. We didn't want to wreck our car because we're racing it next weekend in Winton. So, but obviously it paid off. I was struggling a bit there at the end. I just didn't want to blow a tyre. So it was good. I just want to say thanks to my crew and the sponsors for getting me here.
And what's it like to come to Queensland Raceway and be part of the TA2 Muscle Car Series? You had a good time?
Oh, I love it. I love driving these cars. I love hanging out with these people, and great cars to drive, and obviously pretty close to Normal Motorplex where I'm based. So, yeah.
We'll get the win in his hometown here, Nash Morris. Big smile on his face. Once again, congratulations. The TA2 Muscle Car, framed by Hi-Tec Steel Framing. He gets the win, Wade. He's such a great young fella and so humble.
I thought he was going to start doing curls with the trophy just then. You were getting used to that smile, that's for sure. So that wasn't actually a performance concept for you going for the wets. It was actually more of a survival. So our calendar so far, we head to Morgan Park Raceway on July 8 and 9, then to Sydney Motorsport Park October 13 and 14, and Calder Park Raceway November 24, 26 for the finale for the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series. It's had it all here at Queensland Raceway for the third round of the championship. We've had an absolute blast being here, no doubt about that. So very soon, wrapping things up. All smiles for the Morris team, that's for sure. Our TA2 Muscle Car Series framed by Hi-Tec points continuing to seesaw. Dylan Thomas very wary of Josh Haynes. There's no doubt about that. He knows he's coming. He knows too that Jackson Rice is lurking with intent. So we have a lot more still to go with our TA2 Muscle Car Series and, of course, the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series. Looking forward to catching you at Morgan Park in early July. Going to be an absolute blinder. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage today. We've enjoyed bringing it to you. Queensland Raceway never disappoints. Until next time, we'll catch you for the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series next time at Morgan Park.